Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I am super excited to be back. I am Krymkat. If you don't already know me, I share with you wisdom about relationships and help you build the relationships of your dreams. Welcome back to another episode, and today I'm talking about heartbreaks. Heartbreaks are painful. Heartbreaks can change your life. I mean, they can change your life either for the best or for the worst. Heartbreaks are deeply impactful, and especially when you have invested so much of yourself. Sometimes it doesn't even matter about the time. You see, you might have just been in a 1 month relationship or 2 month relationship, but that heartbreak has the potential to change your life forever. Heartbreaks are painful, but a lot of times we don't talk about the details of how they change our lives or how they affect people or how they actually impact people, you see. And that's one of the things I want to do today. And subsequently on the next episode, I'm going to talk to you about how you can bounce back from a heartbreak, how you don't have to stay there, be beat down, and not be able to move forward. You can actually recover. I have spent time helping people do this, especially in the last year. But the focus of the conversation is that you can get back yourself. But first things first, you really need to understand, how did heartbreak change you? And that's what today's episode is about. The very first thing about heartbreaks that I really like to talk about is from the inside out. So heartbreak attacks your sense of internal compass. And what would I call that? Internal compass is a combination of different things. It's a combination of your sense of identity, a combination of your self-worth, your self-esteem, your values, your belief systems, which ultimately kind of chart the course for what you believe should be your highest purpose in life. So your sense of identity is called a sense because who you are and who you believe yourself to be sometimes can have a gap in between, you see. And so it's not always that people reckon themselves accurately in the way they view themselves in their own minds, but that's another conversation. So your sense of identity, who you believe you are, your sense of self-worth, the kind of value you believe you carry and you bring to the world in the context of wherever you're placed, maybe in a relationship, in a family, at work, in your social life. That sense of value is your self-worth. Your self-esteem is how you now carry yourself in reflection of the value you perceive that you have, you see. So all of those things together with your value systems, what you believe you live life by, and your belief systems, all of those things come together to kind of form your internal compass. And when you are going through a heartbreak or you have had your heart broken, those things get attacked because you start to have a conversation with yourself. Sometimes these conversations can be warped and blinded by the heat and the emotional tension of the situation. And then you start to say things to yourself like, I probably wasn't good enough, what's wrong with me? And all of those questions, you start to question who you really are. And if there is no counteracting system in your life to kind of back down the negatives, those negatives can build up, and that becomes the center stage for bad things. I mean, you start to carry yourself in a way that does not really reflect who you are, and which leads me to my second point, your self-esteem. Your self-esteem starts to plummet, right? It shows when you have a sense of low self-esteem. It's not something you can hide, or it's not like a scar that you can cover. It really reflects. It reflects in your conversations, it reflects in the way you carry yourself, it reflects in the way you present yourself to the world, and all of those things start to show. And the funny part of it is not only going to come up as a problem in the context of your relationships, it will come up as a problem at work. It will come up as a problem in the way you present yourself in your business, in the things that you do, in the social impact work that you do. So when your sense of your internal compass kind of attacked when you're in a breakup, and you don't have a system that is countering it, it can affect your self-esteem. And when I mean a system that's countering it, you must have solid convictions that are already telling you, oh no, that's not who you are, nothing is wrong with you. Or you might have external voices who are, who you're bouncing off of these negative conversations to, and who are telling you, oh, nothing is wrong with you. Why would you think that? And just solid support system that is countering it. If you don't get to have that, people now begin to plummet into a dark hole, believing the worst about themselves. And that's how heartbreak breaks people. You see, that's how it breaks people. The next thing I'll talk about, which is the third point, is that heartbreak affects your efficiency at life. It affects your efficiency, affects your productivity, eventually affects your economic power, which I think is very important. And I'm sure you're wondering, how did that come up to number 3? I know you know that heartbreak is important, you know it's painful, you know it causes a lot of problems, but you're just like, it's not that deep. Financial, economic, and how heartbreak affects my financial economy to number 3. It does, and that's why it's even number 3. Because if you're not able to work well, you're not able to be productive. I mean, you see the movies where somebody's heart got broken and they're not going to work, they lock themselves up in a room, they're not efficient. Some people have the reverse, but most people have the situation where their productivity is affected because their emotional their emotions are not balanced, their emotional life is upside down, so it kind of affects the ability of their mind to come together. It's just like when one part of your body is not working well. Let's say you have pain in your stomach. Your ability to sit down and work with your hands is limited, even though your stomach is not the one doing the work, because your stomach has some pain. So when your emotions are not in the same place, your soul, where your mind is, where the cognitive abilities are, your willpower is, the ability for your soul to come together when one part is upside down and kind of get work done, it's not so good. It's upside down, right? While some people have the opposite effect where they get super productive, they pour themselves into work, which is actually also a dangerous thing because they do not now tend to attend to their emotions and what's going on in their heart, and this can now result into future problems, you see. But let's not get into that. So oftentimes with those people, their will is usually greater. We cannot say there's such an equilibrium in the playing factors in their soul. So their will can superimpose over their emotions, and that it gets them to that point where, regardless of how upheavaled their emotional life has been turned around, they still go ahead work. Very importantly, one thing you must establish is the fact that your productivity, your entire life, the work that you do can be severely affected by your breakup. And if you don't get yourself together, the truth is that you can actually have more losses that are not just emotional. In other areas of your life, you can lose relationships, you can lose significant, reputation because you were focused and you stayed in a place where heartbreak took over your life for way longer than you should have. Number 4, heartbreaks can affect your other relationships. See, oftentimes people just talk about how they are unable to be emotionally available, they cannot show up in their friendships because they're going through a heartbreak, and that's true, and that actually happens. But beyond even that, heartbreak can affect your relationships in the sense that you start to build up defense mechanisms from the heartbreak that you have had that now negatively affects your other relationships, even when they're not necessarily romantic. So you find that you have friends who are paying for things that your exes did, and that's a problem. Or even potential relationships that are paying for things that your exes did. Like, how can you blame them? They didn't do it to you, they didn't break your heart, you see. So it's very important for you to understand that it can start to ruin your life when it starts to break your ability to relate with other people because of what somebody else has done to you. And it takes intentionality to trace the line, like trace the dots and see how what has happened to you, the effect it has had on you, is affecting your other relationships. So this is number 4. The next is number 5, and I'll be stopping here for today, is heartbreaks can set the stage for self-sabotage and a continuum of heartbreaks. So this is like a big umbrella for everything, but through heartbreaks, people can start to do things that kind of put them in jeopardy. This is where people start to, maybe serial date, just going out with everybody, spreading themselves everywhere, and it starts to hurt them. You see, that's one part of the spectrum. Another part of it is that heartbreak just plummets you into that dark hole where you learn so many negative defense mechanisms, where you start to gather so many, ammunitions, and you're like, nobody's ever going to treat me this way. I will show the women folk shaking. I will do this, I'll do that. And you start to make all these heavy, dangerous promises to yourself and about future relationships that now ends up hurting you in the long run, because you can get into a relationship that's beautiful and your entire response is negative because of one heartbreak you had in the past. So that heartbreak, the heartbreak that has caused you so much pain, should not have the power to decide your future. If you give that heartbreak the power, it's going to set the stage for future heartbreaks and for a continuum, a train of self-sabotage if you're not intentional. And oftentimes the way that heartbreak does this is very subtle. If you're not intentional to sit down and ask, how did this thing affect me? I remember, sharing something with my mentor, and she literally asked me, how has this thing affected you? You need to be able to sit down and clearly state it to yourself. This has affected me in this way. This is how I find myself reacting because of this thing that I've been through. So heartbreaks can destroy a person's life. Heartbreaks can attack your internal compass. Heartbreaks can plummet your self-esteem. Heartbreaks can affect your financial power, your economic power. Heartbreaks can affect your other relationships. And heartbreaks can set the stage for continued heartbreaks and for self-sabotage. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can set the stage for something different. You can rewrite your story. You can alter your outcomes. And that's what I'll be sharing with you next week. Ensure that you tune in and you set your notification. If you have not already subscribed, really, if you watched to this point, that means you're an OG, so you should have subscribed by now. Make sure you like this video, share with someone that you know. If there's something that resonates with you, comment in the section, let me know that that's resonated. It kind of makes sense for me and I understand now. And I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next video. This is me leaving you with love, light, and everything good. Bye.